Hi, my name is Ondrej Bursik. This is a small presentation to give you information about what is HCF1 and HCF2. Harmonizing Chi Flow is an intensive training course that I have developed over a period of about 10 years. I have ran this course, HCF1, in Germany last year and several times in Sydney, Australia, where I teach for the College of Complementary Medicine. So let's go through it. Basically, Harmonizing Chi Flow is a way of understanding how Chi flows through the body. It is a unique way based both on the Chinese and Japanese ways of looking at acupuncture. The HCF1 course goes through understanding how Qi flows through the body, especially how it originates in the Ming Meng and the importance of the Ming Meng, and when it is out of balance, what it affects in our body. How the Qi then travels from the Ming Meng area to what's called the free jiaos, or sometimes referred to as free burners, and then how this Qi actually distributes through the body. It is said in the old scriptures that the Qi flows through the free ways of the free jiaos. It is actually the free jiaos that distribute the Qi into the 12 channels through what's called the Yuan source points. There are many balances that we look at that look at the Ming Meng, the free jiaos, the relationship between the Ming Meng free jiaos, the relationship between how Qi distributes into the body, and then we begin to look at what's called the extraordinary 8 channels. We don't only look at the 8 channels in isolation, but we importantly want to understand what is the relationship between the 8 channels, how they regulate the 12 channels, and what is the relationship between the free jiaos, 8 channels, and 12 channels in total. The HCF2, which is continuation of HCF1, basically begins to look at in detail the 12 channels of the acupuncture system. It doesn't just look at each channel individually, but we are more interested in all the different relationships that they come. Stress, or what do we want to call imbalance in the body, doesn't happen in isolation. So when we see something affecting a particular system, it is usually due to some kind of a pattern that's already pre-existing. HCF2 is really looking at in depth at these patterns and looking at what are the relationships between channels that show up when we do kinesiology muscle monitoring. One of the most exciting things that I use in Harmonizing Chi Flow is what's called the stem and branch theory. Arguably, this is the oldest form of acupuncture. There's been references to using the stem and branches 2,500 BC. And based on a lot of research done by Yoshio Manaka, a Japanese researcher, he found that using the stem and branch theory, we can find what's called open points. And once we understand what the open point is, this is one of the best points to use in the body, regardless of diagnosis, regardless of course. I use this extensively in my clinic, and there is many different ways of using it. So we go through different balances of how to use open points. Harmonizing Chi Flow also have lots of what's called sub-programs. Sub-programs allows us to integrate knowledge of different aspects of the body with the balances that we do. So for example, I might be doing a balance in the free jiaos, or how the Qi flows from the jiaos to the 12 channels, but I can look at different sub-programs. One of the sub-programs is using research done by Tada Kono, who basically looked at how we can use central vessel points to find out which sinew channel is out of balance. So we basically use his research to identify which sinews to activate and which sinews to use and how we balance them. Another subprogram in HCF is using the cutaneous system, and there is a specific way that we use them based on the original research. Another subprogram of HCF is including psychology, because quite often when we are working with acupuncture flow and when we are working with information, what we want is we want the client to get an understanding of, on a psychological level, where this is coming from. We use both what's called body locations, which is based on the old 5-element system. So this is the system before our current 5-element system. And we also use information about what's called exaggerated and collapsed emotions for each of the elements. We also have a subprogram that looks at what's called the spiritual aspects of our body. We mainly use what's called heart points. This is an example, heart 1, called the utmost source. And this is a work that's been done by Neil Gumnix. In HCF, we always use open points. And there is many books about open points, but I have a unique way of finding out and using the open points, which was originally based by Yoshio Manaka. Here's a chart of what I would use, which basically looks at which open point is open for any given day. Is that point related to yang, yin? Which element does it relate to? What is the frequency of sound that it's related to? What is the heavenly stem emotion behind it? What is the earthly brainstem emotion behind it? So it's quite a comprehensive system that allows you to give another edge into your sessions. Within the Harmonizing Chi Flow courses, I also inbuilt what's called exercises. And these exercises have two fold meanings. One, the exercises that are there for the practitioners. Through the course, I will teach 4 different exercises, which is called the 5-element exercise, replenishing the body, warming the Ming Mang, and stretching of the jiaos, which can actually be practiced by practitioners to allow Qi to flow through their body and for greater health. But each of those exercises is also linked to particular balances. And so when we apply a particular balance, if it still needs more work, what the practitioners can then do is teach the exercise to their clients, who will then practice that exercise on a daily basis to continue the work they have done in clinic. This is something that I utilize a lot in my practice, and pretty much most of my clients walk away not with only being balanced, but with something to do as an ongoing program for them. In Harmonizing Chi 2, which can only really be looked at when we have already balanced the Ming Mang, the free jiaos, the flow to the jiaos, the extra 8 channels, we look at the 12 channels in detail. We don't just look at what these channels are, but what I'm most interested in is the relationship between the channels. So we look at things like sound balancing, yuan low balancing, 5-element balancing, free continuous circuit balancing, opposite polarity balancing, which is the ziwu, 6-element balancing, which is work by Dr. Zheng, which is really brilliant. I love that work. The yin yang profiles, back shoes. Then there's procedures for pain, there's procedures for integration. I'm just trying to give you a bit of an idea of what we will be covered. But there's a lot of information. That's why we need 4 days in HCF2 to actually cover that. I think there's about 10 different balances there. Here's a chart of sort of the 5 elements that we sometimes use. In summary, Harmonizing Chi Flow really looks at the core of the body. It looks at the Ming Meng, the free jiaos, the relationship between them, the relationship between how the Qi gets into the body from the free jiaos, how the extra 8 meridians function, how they regulate the 12 channels, what's the relationship between them and the free jiaos, with a lot of sub-programs and a lot of exercises. HCF2, once we have learned that and balanced the body, it begins to look at the 12 channels. It begins to look at the details of how these channels interrelate, and there's more than 10 procedures to be able to look at different interrelationships. We also have procedures for pain, procedures for integration, and there are specific, let's say, exercises for each of the channel as well. So hopefully you'll be able to join me in September to learn this course. I'm very excited about it. I know that I've done it last year in Germany. I had about 19 or 20 people that loved it. I taught it in Sydney this year. Everybody loved it. So hopefully you'll be able to join me and learn a bit about Harmonizing Chi Flow 1 and 2. Thank you.